Today is Thursday. Vov Shvat, and we are Tovshin Ein Gimel. We are in Teres Menachem. We say from Mamorim, Tovshin Yud Aleph, Tovshin Yud Beis. In the middle of the Mamar of Achron Shal Pesach, Tovshin Yud Aleph, Veheinif Yodo. We are on page Nuntes. Just to recap a little bit, because it's technical over here. A lot of Kabbalistic terminology. The Rebbe is talking here about Mashiach, who has the unique characteristic of being able to judge through the sense of smell. V'harichai be'iras Hashem. It says in the pasuk concerning Mashiach, and Hashem will give him this ability of v'harichai, being able to sense through the sense of smell. And as the Gemara says, that one of the signs, defining features of Mashiach is that he'll be able to judge through the sense of smell. And the Rebbe is discussing the difference between the sense of smell and the consumption of food, both of which are connected to rejuvenating the energy of the neshama. But one is consumed, food is consumed internally, whereas smell is something more spiritual, if you will, or higher, finer. Through the consumption of food, we diminish the food that we eat, whereas when we smell something, we don't diminish that which we smell. The substance that we smell doesn't get diminished through multiple smells, if you will. The Rebbe explains that the life force of the soul that is connected to the consumption of food is the Eir Pnimi, the life force of the soul that permeates the body internally. The immanent aspect of the life force of the soul. Whereas the sense of smell is connected to the life force of the soul that surrounds the body, that hovers around the body, the makif. Right? So that's what the Rebbe is explaining here. And he explained that the nose, which is the organ through which we smell, is the portal to the brain. The heart is the portal, the mouth is the portal to the heart, and the nose is the portal to the brain. And which aspect of the brain? We're talking about pnimius hameichin, or the etzem hameichin, the very essence of the brain. We're not talking about seichel, the transmission of intellect, which is from the brain. That comes through the mouth as well, right? But that is an external transmission from the brain. The internal aspect of the brain, which is connected to the essential life force of the person, the portal for that is the nose. The Rebbe went on to say that in the nose we have two nostrils. We have the right nostril and the left nostril. I'm just going to try to say it a little bit in my words, as it were, so it'll be maybe a little bit easier to go through the text in the Sefer. Generally, when we talk about the neshama is divided into two parts, as it were. There's as we say over here, there's the aspects of the neshama that clothe themselves internally and find expression in the body of the person. And then you have the aspects of the neshama that remain above the person, do not clothe themselves internally in the person. Generally speaking, this is the difference between nefesh, ruach, and neshama, which is in the former bracket. Those are the aspects that find expression in the person. And chaya and yichida, which are the aspects of the neshama that hover around the person, that remain the subconscious of the person. Nefesh generally is the aspects of the neshama that find expression in the actions of the person, in maisa. Ruach is connected to the heart. Neshama is connected to the mind, and Chaya and Yechida are beyond. Chaya and Yechida, another way of saying Chaya and Yechida, or let's say Yechida, in this context that we're discussing here, we're talking about the Etzem and Neshama, the essence of the soul, the deepest dimension of the soul. In terms of defining Chaya and Yechida, there is what's called Chayin and Chayin the Chayin. That's another way of saying Chaya and Yechida. The way the life force, the way Chaya relates to the body is Oir Yosher, meaning to say, it comes down, when you say Oir Yosher, it means in a way of coming down Milmayla Lamata, from above to below. That is, for example, when we talk about the person, when a person is sleeping, a person is alive but not animated, right? That means that he's getting a life force in that sense from a level of the soul which is beyond the expression, internal expression, and clothing itself internally into the finding expression through the person. Everything is fine. He's just asleep. That means getting chayas from chayin, the level of chayin, which would be chaya, for example. It comes down in a normal way. It's called makif, because makif means it surrounds. He's drawing from the makif. But Yosher, a direct light, coming down from above to below. Then you have something called makif the Chayzer, the surrounding, a light which surrounds, but in a way of Chayzer, a light that returns. That is when you draw from, or you reach the, when you reach what? You reach the level of the essence of the soul, which is beyond that, which is beyond finding expression in the body at all. When a person is in a deep state of fainting, you have to reach into the very essence of the neshama in order for the essence of the neshama to activate the lower aspects of the neshama with a renewed energy to give life to the body. And ultimately to find expression. That's called makif the Chayzer. Why? Because it's through a blockage that you need to reach deeper into the neshama, and from there to transmit back down. So that's chayin and chayin the chayin. When in a person serving Hashem, you also find two aspects. There's an aspect of drawing down godliness into the world, causing Gil Elokus, the revelation of godliness. And then you have an aspect of the Avodas Adam is to transform the Gashmias to become a vessel for godliness. The former is connected to the level of Chayin in Sfiris, which is, technically speaking, the external dimension of Keser, Chitzonius Keser. And the latter, which means the transformation, to transform the Gashmias into becoming a vessel to godliness, that is connected to the internal aspect of Keser, Pnimius Keser. Right? Because just like in the soul you have the internal dimensions of the soul, Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, so too in the Spheres above, in the divine attributes above, you have the 10 Spheres, which are the internal revelations of godliness that find expression internally and connect with the realm that they inhabit. And then you have the Chaya Yechida dimension of godliness, which is Keser, known as Keser, the crown, like a crown that surrounds. And Keser has the external dimension of Keser, which is known as Arich Anpin, which is like the Chaya of the soul. And then you have Atik Yomin, which is the internal dimension of Keser, of the crown, which is known as Atik Yomin, and that would be like the Yechida of the soul. So this is how these two sort of templates. Sorry?
You said one was called the Chayin, and the other one.
Chayin de Chayin, the life of life.
Top of the next page, in the middle.
No, I haven't got there.
This is the template, okay? We're not going to be able to do justice to this. We'll have to do this in stages.
The two nostrils?
So one is connected to Chayin, the right one is Chayin, and the left one is Chayin, is connected to Chayin de Chayin. And as we go along, the Rebbe is going to go through the technical Kabbalistic terminology, but then he's going to get to the point of the idea of scent and where it touches in the soul. Obviously, the idea of smelling something, smelling salts, strong smelling salts, touches the very essence of the soul to draw down a new life, energy from the very essence of the soul, which is connected to Mashiach, etc., etc. So we'll get through it. We'll grind through the technicalities and the Kabbalistic terminology, and hopefully we'll get to the actual point that I was trying to make.